Okay, Bloody Keren, Ethiopia, 1941. Just started the first turn. Moved some British units east from their start area here, following this primary road. Yeah, primary road. These units follow the primary road and then down this trail. And then these units down here cross the river here, and they're heading over here to get on this trail to head towards this Italian cavalry and infantry force here at Hager. Before I was wondering about the compass directions here, wondering about the north edge especially and the west edge especially. I just assumed that the top of the map was north. I never did find a compass arrow, but maybe it's covered up or maybe it's right in front of me and I just don't see it. But I did see, after I set up all the units on the map, I did see that you have west edge and north edge defined in the small text here on the Allied unit organization sheet. So the west edge is 1011 right here at this Allied supply point, down to this, let's see, 1020, yeah, 1020 down to this Allied supply point. So that is considered the west edge. The north edge is 3401 right here over to 4201, the C here. So that is your north edge. And again, I said that's the west edge over there. So that is in the text of the setup. Also, since I did the first movement there, just some things to note, like, again, to go over it again, armor and heavy armor are prohibited from mountain hexes except along the path of a road. And so again, I like the details and the rules with the primary roads, secondary roads, and trails, with rules that actually distinguish them quite well. So primary road, secondary road, and trails. And to review again, I like the varied terrain here. So down here, this light, very, very light pale tan is clear. This next tan shade here is rough. And then you go to hills, the orangish color are hills, and then the reddish color are mountains, with very distinct effects for each. Also, the main roads give a flat 1/2, or you pay a flat 1/2 movement point to move along the main roads, primary roads, and that's pretty standard. But I like the secondary roads. So the secondary road here, secondary road here. Secondary road, you're going to pay 1/2 movement point in clear, but 1 movement point in anything else. So 1/2 movement point in clear, 1/2 in any other terrain. So following the second road through any other terrain than clear, you're going to pay 1 per hex. And then the trail is 1/2 of the other terrain in the hex, which means that in effect, so if you're following a trail here, the trail through the clear terrain is going to be 1/2 point because it's 1 point for the clear terrain. But when you take the trail into the hills and you're a regular infantry unit, the hills are 3 normally, so that's 1.5 movement points to follow the trail through the hills here. So I like that. I like that simple but important differentiation. I also didn't probably didn't look closely enough at the CRT. I probably should do this more often than I do. So just to do some basic or make some basic observations about the combat results. Again, it goes 1 to 4 up to 8 to 1 odds. So to start looking at, let's say, the 1 to 1 column, and the die roll results used on the table are -1 to 8. But if we just take the basic 1 to 6, well, actually, how do you get outside of 1 to 6 on one die? There are these combat effects for the terrain as die roll modifiers. So far I haven't seen any column shifts. I just see die roll modifiers. So hills, if the defender's in a hill, +1 to the die roll. Defender's in mountain, +2 to the die roll. River. Okay, so back over. Oh, and also I noticed when I was setting up and doing that initial British movement, when I was considering where to go and why, I just noted this, towns, villages, native villages, supply sources, well, especially those ones, these have no effect on movement or combat. So there is no defend a town, get a bonus. No, these are all for other rules purposes or for historical reference. But movement point costs and combat effects are per the other terrain in the hex. So these stacks of Italians defending in these towns. Yep. These stacks, they're not getting any. There's no extra bonus for just because they're in built-up areas. So back to the CRT, looking at the 1 to 1 column, and just looking at the die roll results 1 to 6. So from top to bottom, defender retreat, and then there's 1 to 1, or 1 and 1. Each side takes a step loss. Another 1 and 1 result. A nothing. Attacker retreat. And attacker take 1 step loss and retreat. So clearly, so of those 6 possibilities, 1 to 6 on the 1 to 1 column, the attacker half the time is going to lose a step. The defender is going to lose a step 1/3 of the time. And a full 1/3 of the time, each side is going to take a step loss. So we'll go up to 3 to 1 column. 2 results are just defender 1 step loss and retreat. Then there are 2 results that defender retreat. And then there are 2 results 1 and 1. 1 step loss, 1 step loss. So at 3 to 1, the attacker still has 1/3 a chance of taking a step loss. defender has also 1/3 chance taking a step loss and another third chance taking a step loss and being forced to retreat. So really, you have to get up to 5-1, just considering die roll results 1-6. You have to get all the way up to 5-1 to pretty much be guaranteed that the defender will be forced to retreat. So at 5-1, the results are defender takes 3 step losses and retreats, 2 step losses and retreats, 1 step loss and retreats, another 1 step loss and retreats, and then 2 results of forced retreat. And then at 6-1, you finally get your first flat-out defender eliminated result on die roll of 1. Also of note, in this game, there are important rules considerations to watch out for on the setup tables. So the Italian player has to pay attention to the Wolcate garrison at various locations here, and then also pay attention to the Tigray garrison at various locations. And then all these units down here on turn 2, 3, 4, and 5, these units are released on these game turns. So basically the Italian player gets access to his forces progressively in stages, and players want to watch out for that. And then on top of just pieces being released on the board, of course you have your normal reinforcements entering on different turns. So where would they? Yeah. So section 10 goes over the reinforcements, and then arrival locations, and then here's where they discuss the Italian garrisons. And they discuss the Wolcate garrison and the Tigray garrison. So there are these different conditions that allow release of these garrison forces. Okay. I was looking for the effects of the artillery in the game, and there is an artillery bonus discussed under combat. So for each 18 artillery attack points committed to an attack, the attacker subtracts 1 from the die roll result for that combat. Okay, so artillery bonus is by increments of artillery points involved. And they basically, artillery bonus can only, for this rule anyways, only benefits the attacker. So let's see how one gets that. See, okay, so I have two artillery units here coming up behind this force here, supporting, or they will be supporting attacks shortly. So these 2 artillery units can bring 9 attack factors to bear, and that's only halfway to that threshold for the artillery bonus. So we got up here. Okay, 4 and 5. Okay, so up here with this force, we got a 5 strength artillery and a 4 strength artillery. So there's another 9 points. So those 9 with this 9 will get you 18 for that artillery bonus. That's 4 whole artillery units that you need to mass to get that artillery bonus, but it is a pretty clear, pretty distinct bonus. All right.